Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Winpe Ignite PEVC Career Talk series. We are still admitting people, so we'll give it another minute and then we'll get started. A message to those participants whose Zoom name is not on our list of registered participants. Please either update your Zoom ID to match the one you've used for registration, or in case you've registered, please use the link in the chat box to do so. We are ready to start. For those of you who don't know us, Winpe is a pioneering platform driving gender diversity in the investing ecosystem by increasing women's participation as investors, capital allocators, and recipients of investment capital. We work closely with PEVC firms in helping them shape and execute on DI strategies, including hiring more women across roles and levels. When we launched in 2020, and we heard a member PEVC firm saying, "We want to hire women, but we can't find them," we were skeptical because we thought there are enough women keen on PEVC careers. In the last more than 5 years, Winpe has undertaken a number of initiatives aimed at supporting PEVC aspirants, including job bulletins, AMAs with industry leaders, boot camps with recruiters, and career fairs. Through these initiatives, we've also come to realize that the talent pipeline of women for PEVC is much thinner than we would like for various reasons. Ignite by Winpe is a platform designed to support the female talent pipeline in the PEVC industry. Ignite offers online career sessions, masterclasses, job vacancy information, and a profile bank of women interested in PEVC roles, accessible to Winpe member firms in an anonymized format. So when PEVC firms hire, they can access a profile repository for candidates. The profile bank is open to women at all levels, including those already in PEVC. And as I said before, we hide candidate and firm names in the database, and that is shared with hiring firms. We are sharing the form link. Please add yourself to the Ignite repository. You'll see that in the chat box. Please join the Winpe Career Network WhatsApp group that will keep you updated on our sessions and with information on job openings, which we keep posting there. I'm sharing the group link on the chat box. Before we move on to today, a reminder that if we do not find your name in the registration list, we will have no choice but to remove you from the session. So please either update your display name or fill out the registration form. Link is in the chat. Moving on to today, our topic for today is Charting Your Course, Lessons from Women Who've Redefined Success in PEVC. Introducing our speakers, Ankita Balotia, Vice President, Investment Team at Fireside Ventures, Charu Gulati, CHRO, Everstone Group India, Himangi Desai, Director for Venture Debt Instruments, Trifecta Capital, Krunali Shah Pinjani, Investor at A91 Partners, Nishtha Kohli, Senior Vice President at Warburg Pincus, Parita Asher, CFA, Principal OJ, Pooja Parmar, Principal Equanimity Investments, Prachi Marwa, Senior Vice President, Risk Capital, Sanjana Tulsiani, Senior Vice President, Investments at Iron Pillar, Sarika Saxena, Managing Partner, IAN Alpha Fund, Shweta Laddha, Senior Vice President and Head of Compliance and Secretarial, Multiples Private Equity Group, Snigdha Jain, Executive Vice President, Ascertis Credit. We will now be moving into our four breakout rooms, each featuring three expert speakers. For the private equity room, where we'll have Prachi, Nishtha, and Parita. Early growth, late VC, here we will have Krunali, Mangi, and Sanjana. Early stage VC with Pooja, Ankita, and Sarika. Operating roles with Charu, Snigdha, and Shweta. Please join your respective breakout rooms to gain valuable insights into private equity and venture capital from our distinguished speakers. Feel free to explore. You can move between breakout rooms during the session to listen in on the different discussions and gain insights from all of our speakers. Some housekeeping notes before we begin. This session is being recorded and an edited version of the recording will be made available for future reference. You can type your breakout room's topic-related questions anytime during the breakout session in the chat box. For any general questions, please post them in the main session and we will pick them up at the end of the session. After the breakout session, please come back to the main room for a Q&A round with all the speakers. Without further delay, let's get started.
So, Krishna, what do you do since we are waiting for others to join?
Yeah, sure. So I work with Vivriti Asset Management. It's a private credit firm that began its journey 6 years back. So it's part of the early members there. Just curious to meet more people. One, to understand your own journeys and how I can implement that in mine.
You are in which role there, Krishna?
I'm in the investment team there. So I focus
Lovely.
on financial sectors and agri. So that's my core expertise there.
Nice. Very different agri and financial services.
Yeah. So we began with a lot of impact theme. As we are growing at the org, we are having more, let's say, corporates, high stress, different portfolio, right? So there's an entire risk spectrum for debt. So we are scaling up across that.
Sure. Okay. Should we begin, Snigdha, Shweta?
Yeah, I think yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think let's start by introducing ourselves, since you all would be very keen to know who we are, what we do. If Shweta and Snigdha are okay, I'll start with myself.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Okay. Hi everybody. I'm Charu Gulati. I head HR for a private equity firm called Everstone Capital. Been with them for almost 8.5 years now. Overall, 25 years of experience. Have done industry for 15 years as GE. Started my career with a business operating role. Moved to HR during my stint with GE because I was there for 15 years, fortunate enough to be in an organization that allows you various internal job movements to see where is it that your heart really lies. Then moved on to a bank called IDFC, which is now called Capital First. Did that for 2.5 years, short stint because the bank was getting acquired by another entity. And that's when Everstone happened to me. Happy to be a part of these conversations. I'm doing these very often these days, I would say, because I'm seeing lovely talent coming up in the industry. And this is just the best way of uh, showcasing what has really helped us get where we are. Not that it is the end of the road, but it's always good to just share knowledge. What have you done? What are the mistakes you did? What did not go well? Times have really changed. I think you guys are really, really fortunate to be in the world wherein there are ample opportunities. I love sharing best practices. I belong to the family of teachers, which is always given gyan or education to students. So this is my way of giving back as teaching as a profession to lovely audiences that's coming up. So that's me. Snigdha, over to you.
Thanks so much, Charu. Hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here today. Unlike Charu, this is my first Winpe session, so really looking forward to meeting everyone here. As a quick background on myself, I have close to 22 years of experience in the financial services space in India. Started with ILNFS, Marsh, where it was more sales, risk advisory. But close to like about 18 years ago, I moved into the alternatives asset space first with Kotak. Used to be a part of Kotak Alternative Assets, where I used to head fundraising across all the strategies. So managing fundraising across private equity, real estate, infrastructure. But a big focus there was credit strategy. So raised a lot of capital from large international institutional investors such as sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, insurance companies, etc. But largely on the credit side. So special situations, distress strategies, real estate credit strategies, infrastructure credit strategies, and raised about close to $8-9 billion for them over the 15 years that I was there. About 3 years ago, I moved to Ascertis Credit. It is a dedicated private performing credit platform based in India and Singapore. We manage about 4 funds here, invested more than $1.5 billion across sectors in India and Singapore. And here again, I head fundraising from international as well as large domestic investors, and but largely around credit now. So we have 2 strategies, one on a performing credit side and one on a more shorter tenor fixed income kind of a strategy, so raise capital across both. when I started my career or initial part of alternatives, I really wish there were more forums like this on which we could meet and interact and kind of share our stories, and if not, just understand if things are right or not. So I'm really looking forward to meeting everyone here, hearing from everyone, and kind of growing together in a way. Yeah, Shweta.
Hello. Hi, everyone. And thanks, Charu, for agreeing to moderate this session. So happy to meet you all. And I'm Shweta Laddha. I work with multiple alternate asset management as head of compliance in Secretarial and SVP. Overall, I have 16 years of work experience. I started my career with investment banking role, where I have, handled a lot of IPOs, delisting, takeover, merchant banking related stuff. And around 10 years ago, I switched my career from investment banking to compliance, legal, risk, and corporate secretarial with Aditya Birla Group. I started my career in this field with Aditya Birla Capital Group. So there was one company called Aditya Birla My Universe that was into personal finance management, program, and then they were introducing all sort of kind of products, which actually I found all that role very interesting because of that those products and all. And since then, I am in this role and in multiples. I closely work with all our portfolio companies. We have 16 plus portfolio companies and work with them towards strengthening their governance. So whichever, all these companies are at a different different maturity level, and accordingly we make a path or a plan for them, that how do we strengthen some of the companies. We are strengthening them, strengthening them to become to act like a public company. Some of them are on the IPO road, so we curate plan for each of those company, and I closely work with all the compliance officers. Academically, I'm a company secretary, LLB and MBA. So yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Shweta. Thanks, Snigdha. We have a very, very small audience. Prerna, are you representing Winpe or are you one of the participants?
I'm just representing Winpe only.
Okay, perfect. So we only have Shweta and Krishna. We'll see if we can change the format a bit, Snigdha and Shweta, to see in case there are questions that they have specifically to answer.
Okay.
Krishna, Shweta, I leave it to you. Do you have questions? Otherwise, we guys can start with the questions that we had for each other, and you can listen in and interrupt in between, if you will, to ask in case there are any specifics.
Sure, that format works.
Okay.
Just one point, if you can cover during your entire journey, is just the whole bit on networking, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a personal learning or my to-do task forever. Like every year, it's always there. So how did you describe? Maybe if you can cover during your conversations, it really help.
I think Snigdha is the right person to cover on networking. She's a fundraising person. So, Snigdha, you want to go start with this?
Sure. Actually, Krishna, I think that is one of a point that I can't stress enough about. And I think it's across all roles, even not just fundraising, but I think across all roles that you should definitely. I think the first inclination, even when I started, was you have to deliver what you've been given. You have to kind of achieve all the KRAs, etc. But over time, I've realized that stepping out of your office and meeting more and more people, and a wide range of people, not just people from your fundraising field or your office, etc. It's also just meeting a lot of different kinds of people, understanding from them, having a lot of conversation really adds a lot to you as a professional, as well as in your personal and professional growth. And how I started going about that was more, first and foremost, a lot of these industry events and conferences. So I think, of course, Winpe is one place that you started, but like in the private equity and credit space, you have IVCA, that is like a big forum where you have a lot of industries. You have a lot of these business standards, ETs, etc., doing conferences, etc., as well. And now even alternatives is becoming like a pretty set space. So there are a lot of focused events that have been happening around it. There is, I think, Trust Capital does a debt capital markets. So you figure a few events that you think are something that match with your role, your space, etc., and just meet people there, go out, have a conversation, introduce yourself, understand what they do. And if you meet someone interesting, there is just no harm in asking, catching up over coffee and building your network around that. Even on LinkedIn, many a times you come across many profiles that match with the kind of role that you are in or the role that you aspire to be in or to grow. Just reach out to them through LinkedIn. Again, if you're in the same city, again, no harm in just asking for a cup of coffee, interacting, learning from their experiences, how they have gone about doing things. And additionally, like if you have any clients, if you have any colleagues, if you have people who you know in similar roles in other organizations, again, reaching out to them, building a network through them, probably getting your own small network together, doing regular catch ups, and understanding how what are the trends that each of you are seeing within your roles. What are the kind of newer practices, newer things that you are seeing? This you can start with more from a India perspective, and over time you can also expand it to overseas as well. So finding people through global events, like, you have super returns in case your organization allows. Many organizations also allow, there are PDI events in debt, there is super returns, there is APNI. So there are quite a few events happening all over the place. You can choose to go there, network internationally with people, build in through LinkedIn, and expand your network and keep in touch. Over time, you'll build like one close group or set of people that you figure are really helping you grow as professionally, personally. And you can also find your advocates, mentors through those kind of roles as well. And don't think it just has to be at your level. It can also be people who are senior to you in your firms, in your roles outside that you can start with. Charu, Shweta, if you want to add anything.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, Snigdha, you are bang on and you have covered almost everything. So, just to emphasize that when you are looking for networking, it need to be a little bit more, meaningful, just apart from saying hello, hi, because then you are not able to, carry this forward. So, as Snigdha rightly mentioned, that in our industry, we have a couple of forums, like Winpe is one of the great forum that where they keep organizing such seminars, such session, which you should attend. And you should, I would say that, can also begin with targeted networking, that you just identify a few people and there's just focus on them, that what can you learn from their journey, or if they have worked on some assignment which found very useful, then you can start talking about this. And also then IVCA is one good thing. Then Equalify, there is also another forum, Equalify. In our industry, in my function, we have another thing, that PEVC CFO forum. So we could keep organizing, hosting seminar session on some interesting topic. So the idea is not to share just gyan on those topics, because everyone has set of lawyers, set of experts who can very well advise them on these sessions. But the idea is to have some meaningful conversation during these networking events, and then to identify that who are your go-to person whenever you have any such of you face any such kind of issues. Then other thing, as Snigdha rightly mentioned, LinkedIn is also one of the very useful forum. But sometimes through LinkedIn, because we don't know that person and that person in person, sometimes we feel little, shyness in approaching them. But if you can identify some people which are, very crucial, which you feel that very important for you in your journey, please do not hesitate and ask and reach out to them, ask specific questions, so that it does restrict to hi and hello, because then it becomes a little difficult for you to crack that shyness. So yeah.
I so agree, Shweta, on the point that you said on adding meaningfully. So it has to be a
Yeah.
meaningful conversation, both
Correct, correct,
ends.
correct. So you need not be, having a very, very deep conversation in first and second meeting, but you need to have some agenda, so that the
Yeah.
person will also be very, very willing to share his or her knowledge. And at the same time, one good thing which I have, learned, I'm reading one book, Hidden Potential, and there I picked up very good thing, that teaching is the best way of learning, or mentoring is the best way of learning. If you feel that you know something about that person's role or that person's assignment, which can be actually very, very useful to that person, please go ahead and share your knowledge. I mean, no matter however small it is. I mean, it's a very good thing. It's a very good point to, start a conversation and build a good relationship. If you think that something has come up in the industry, some regulation, I mean, I'm from compliance legal, so I would mostly talk about from that angle, that some regulation has come in. So just, analyze that, gather some pointers, gather some your thoughts, gather some foreign practices, just make a note and circulate it to the people whom you think that it might help. So it will be a very good start point of, triggering a conversation, a meaningful conversation.
And also
Yes.
at times, sorry, Sharia, please come.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I was just moving on to the next thing.
No, so just one like quick example from my own so initially when we started, the fundraising community was very small. And what we literally started doing was reaching out to each other through LinkedIn's. And I'm just so thankful that so many of everyone responded, was so positive, was so helpful. We over time have built a really nice network, an informal network of fundraising team members. And in that, we've been able to exchange, in that we've of course made a smaller group where there's a lot of trust because there is some information that you don't want to be sharing in a larger group, and that is your call to take on how you want to do that. But over time, you build this one such network wherein, you can bounce ideas, you can figure what is happening with other funds, how are they tackling certain issues or situations that are becoming industry-wide issues. And you can have those honest conversations in that very closed group. And that has been very meaningful, taking it back to your own organization as well. Because when you internally, as part of a team, are discussing something and are having a conversation, and someone just says, oh, how is the other fund kind of tackling this issue? You have a very informed kind of a decision or informed information about what are the other groups doing about it, etc. And that is something which is very appreciated in your firm because information at the end of the day is really what is adding value to all of us as well. So, yeah.
Krishna, hope that was helpful and to the others as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, moving on, and I see some few more participants that have joined in. So, welcome everybody. Enough has been spoken about how to network. So let's move on to both Snigdha and Shweta to really help the audience understand that HR, compliance, fundraising, finance, etc., are functions that are usually considered behind the scene functions. So how did both of you carve your path and gain recognition in a largely investment focused environment? Shweta, you want to start first?
Yes, sure. Thanks, Charu. So I get this question, and I started my career with investment banking. So I think I get this question totally because investment banking, like private equity investment team, is quite a glamorous role. You are always at the front end and get a lot of attention all the time as you are the deal maker. So, and I switched my career from IB to risk, legal, and compliance for the opportunity, which I found equally exciting and interesting and engaging. Though I had my own apprehension that generally compliance function work behind the scene, rarely get noticed, especially for the compliances you are doing, you will never get noticed. It is only the non-compliance which can bring you some attention, which obviously you don't want. Then I look for some role models who are in this industry and killing it, and I found quite a few role models in this industry. I would like to have special mention of one name here, Gitika Anand from Aditya Birla Group. I don't know her at that point of time, but I have seen her at quite a bit forums. We are of same age, and almost 10 to 12 years ago, I saw her making her mark in the industry, getting a lot of recognition, able to bring a lot of positive changes in the industry, and obviously commanded respect from very, very senior leaders of the industry. She inspired me, and I realized that point of time that making it big in this role is not very easy, but not impossible as well. So when I switched my career to this industry after 6 years in investment banking, my question to myself was that how would I add value to this role and to the businesses? My worry was not that how would I get recognition. And I tried to figure answer to this question every day, every month, and in every assignment which I was doing in this role and kept doing whatever I thought was necessary to get me this answer, yes. Success followed. And over the years, I added one more question to myself that how am I adding value to my industry, my peers in this function? Am I making the path better and inspiring for them the way Gitika did it for me? And then I kept doing all the things which I felt needed to get this answer also in yes. Recognition, applauds, all everything followed. So I think it's very important to find a purpose in our professional life. In fact, I would also like to share one more inspiration. Our CEO, Ms. Renuka Ramnath, in one of the leadership program which I attended, she laid huge importance on finding the purpose in our life, especially in our professional life. And this need not be as big as nation building, though it can be, but it need to be strong enough to keep you motivated. And in that case, you will not need any external push to do your job in a very enriching manner. And when you do your job very passionately, it gets reflected in the way you act, you conduct yourself, you talk, you walk on the floor as if you own it. And when you talk and walk like that, everyone else can very well see this and can feel your connection with the organization or with the function which you are heading. So yeah, I think that's my take on your question, Charu.
Well said, Shweta. And I think Snigdha and I resonate to a lot of things
Yeah.
that you've said. This is a part of our journeys as well. But Snigdha, some comments from you.
No, thank you so much, Shweta. That's actually so well put and so well resonates as Charu said. I think it's a good thing that the industry is also evolved now from I think when each of us started, wherein when it was seen as a back end and only investments were seen to be the forefront and the main faces of the organizations. I think today we have come to a place where each role, like Charu, even for you, HR, retaining talent, right talent is also identifying, retaining talent has become a big thing. Compliance has become a very forefront, finance, etc. And similarly, fundraising. Like when I started my career in fundraising, the thinking that normally most of the people would have is that investors don't want to see fundraising people. They want to see the investment managers, the fund managers, because that is who they see and that is who they give capital to. So it was starting from there that building that, it is a requirement. You need a fundraising person, you need a dedicated person to look at fundraising. And for me, it was also very complementary to investing because if you haven't raised a fund, you will not be able to invest that fund. So it goes hand in hand as part of the firm. So the way I started is I started seeing what was the gap that was there that investment managers were not able to do in the fundraising role, and identified that they had a lot of other things happening for them. They had to look at investing, they had to look at strategic directions that the firm, etc., was taking. And for them, fundraising was only when the fund was getting launched. So a big piece that was missing in this whole thing was building longer term relationships that is required for a fundraise. Like now, all of us recognize you can't just launch a fund and land up in front of an investor at that point in time. It needs long relationships. So started reaching out to a lot of these investors, building these relationships, building a conversation around what we do, how are we thinking, what is our plans going ahead, and keeping everyone ready. So the moment you do the fund launch, the relationship is ready, your base is ready, and all you have to do is now kind of speak about the fund that you have come to. And of course, again, the fund managers did not have the bandwidth to do a mass reach out to the number of investors that a dedicated professional can do. So identifying such similar gaps and plugging that over time was able to build my credibility within the firm, the trust within the firm that yes, it does look like there is a need for this role. There is investors are open to speaking to a fundraising person, and it doesn't need our bandwidth so much on an ongoing basis. So you are kind of helping the teams and fund managers as well to do their investments more effectively and just come in for the timeframes that they need to come in. So it took time. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't something that got done overnight, but over time was able to build this internal consensus and was able to build in that support and success in that role. And if you see now, pretty much I think all the larger firms are looking at dedicated fundraising, and it has become like one of the mainstream roles within an investment firm.
Thank you, Snigdha. I'm not sure out of the people who are on this group, how many are actually not the part of the investments organization. Krishna, you are because you introduce yourself. I don't know about the others. But just adding on one bit, and I'm cognizant of time, is by just saying that we are a behind the scene function, we are just demeaning our own functions. Um, it's really up to you. How do you partner with the business teams and add value? The minute you're able to understand their model end to end and you start contributing in the help that you think you can offer and they need, to exactly the point Snigdha pointed out. Figuring out where is it that they are struggling and giving your partnership approach will naturally invite inclusivity. And then it doesn't really matter which function you belong. That's been my principle. HR is one function, and I've been hearing this joke for the last 25 years that a watchman also understands the HR function and a CEO also understands the HR function. So, what is really the HR function? And you face the brunt of it. Shweta pointed out non compliance is noted more than compliance. Similarly, one payroll miss is noted as HR function not efficient. Attrition going up is noted as HR not being efficient. But number of hirings, the right hirings at the CXO level never gets noticed. And it's so important. And I learned this very early on. And GE has this principle that as long as your people, process, and technology are well established in a firm, there is no way you will not succeed. Therefore, every element has to just work like a machine to get into that. Okay, I have a reminder from Tina that it's ending in 10 minutes. So we'll just see and how is it that we can rush to some of the most important questions depending upon what people want. Shweta, question for you. Success typically in these roles comes from influence rather than authority. How did you build, trust, credibility with the investment leaders and partners that you've been working with?
Yeah. So thanks, Charu. So as I said that when I switched to this role, my question to myself was that how do I add value to the organization, to this role, and to the businesses? So my answer to this remains same, that by adding value, providing solution, not just highlighting problems on timely basis, considering the business requirements, and generally compliance and legal issues, I would say, are seen as showstopper or as a hindrance, as businesses are afraid that they will kill their innovative ideas by quoting some or other compliance or regulatory norms, or by being over conservative. I feel that so I started with this approach, that I started making them feel and believe and actually practice that you are not at the other side of the table. As a compliance, legal, and business function, we are at the same side of the table, and our goal is to trying, and our goal remains same, that we need to make the firm win. We are not doing that, okay, business is doing that, this is business's idea, this is compliance's role. We need to see the problem as a business, as a function, or as a company, not just as a business or as a specific function. So I started with this approach, that I first convinced my business leaders and the investment team that we are the same side of table. We are there to help them, to support them, and to get the deal to win the deal. It's not that our function or our job role is to kill the deal. So, and I'm there to I'm there to help them to win the deal, to win the solution, win, or to get them the answer which they are looking for. So if you are able to find solution with them without compromising your standards, I think you earn a lot of respect and move the ladder up. I mean, this thing has worked with me, on at least on the on with me. This has helped a lot.
I totally agree, Shweta. And while Winpe is a very women-focused forum, I'm sure in all walks of our lives, we listen to the person who's adding value, be a man or a woman.
Yeah.
So it's just about adding value and leaving an impact.
And sometimes it's important to say no also, but at the same time, as a compliance or legal, if I am saying no, but at the same time, if I am providing alternate solution, they are also, very much willing to consider, because for them it's like, how do we solve this problem? So as long as you are providing solution to them, I think that everybody is at a good stage.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great, thanks for that. Snigdha, I think we should do one more question and then open for question and answer. Because then we'll
maybe
have to
something
go
around
back.
mentorship, Charu, because I think that could also be something which
Yeah, I think if you want to just touch upon the topic of mentorship, Snigdha, in terms of how much is it important? Have you had a mentor? What do you think mentors can do for you? It'll be great for the audience to understand.
Sure. I'll start, and then of course, Charu, Shweta, feel free to jump in from both. So I really feel a big part of my career and a big impact has been finding the right mentors, and I've been very lucky.
Sorry, Snigdha,
Yeah.
just touch upon challenges faced
Yes.
during your own journey and
Yes.
club it with mentorship so that the
Sure.
audience can hear both
Sure.
aspects. Sorry.
So when we started with fundraising, there was no pretty much a set industry or set guidelines, or the industry was also very new. Like I started in 2008, and the industry pretty much started in 2005, 6 when the first set of private equity funds, etc., was set up in India. So pretty much it was finding your feet. You don't know what the role entails. Like unlike a lot of other very set, like an investment role or a finance role, etc., where you exactly know what a role is. The fundraising was a very fluid at that point in time. And pretty much, I was just kind of trying to figure on how to go about it. What is it required from the role? How do you go about outreach to an investor? Can you do a cold call? Is that acceptable? So there are a lot of these kind of questions that I had and was looking for guidance. So uh, one of course was I have to say a deep influence someone's had on me has been Shri, who used to the Quota Creators platform. And he pretty much had a very supportive role for fundraising. And he's like, we have to do this outreach. These are the large investors that we want to do the outreach for. And you go and figure how we have to do that. And that whole support around finding the guidance from him on how to go about it, on how to pitch, on how to understand this industry, what are the trends, etc., was a big starting point. And the second mentor that I found as part of my fundraising conversations when I started reaching out to other people in the market was another person who was doing fundraising at a competitive firm, but he was much more senior in the role, and he'd done this in the international firms because international firms at that point had these roles, had the experience, and India was just kind of starting out. And he was again a very important guiding factor in how do we go about doing these things. Even if someone tells you a no on the first set that I don't want to invest in your fund, doesn't mean that you stop the conversation there. You keep the conversation going, you keep building the relationship. You don't know when, at what point it may turn. Or these people may go to another organization and there they may look at your fund, start participating in events. And that's I'm a big proponent of also networking and going to all these events. Meet as many people as you can, understand how they are thinking of things, etc. And I think that guidance and that mentorship at that point was really guiding path because it be direct and how to go about this role and make it a success. And over time, I feel I still need, like, if you want to bounce off ideas, if you're struggling somewhere, you still feel the need to go to a mentor. And I still continue with these two people at times to just bounce off on, this is where I feel in my career, probably want to make a shift or a change or a difference in approach. And these people kind of really help you do that. So that is one, of course, mentors. And second, people that you really have to keep looking out for and keep a lookout for is your advocates. They may not be people who you work with on a regular basis or guide you, but they are people who will give you the visibility, or they will be the people who will open doors for you. Like in that instance, I found this one very large investor on the other side, and somehow ended up meeting this person for the first time, and we just clicked. And he ended up giving me one of my biggest checks, over time becoming like a sounding board, over time becoming like a partner in multiple things. And even though it was not like a mentor, but a relationship that you really value. So you have to keep a lookout, identify both your mentors, and you have to identify these advocates and build a relationship and that trust and support system with them. Also, it's not wrong to even go up to people and ask if you identify a person who you think is a fit for what you're doing from a role perspective, from your work perspective, from your personality perspective, there is just no harm in also going and asking them if they are opening to be a mentor to you and guiding to you. It's just that look for people who are invested in you, who understand you, and are willing to be involved with what you want to do. Yeah. Charu, Shweta, if you want to add, yeah.
If I can add a bit, I mean, I totally resonate with you, Snigdha, especially on the point that advocate. So, one thing apart from mentoring, finding mentors, we should also seek out very active sponsors for yourself, who promote you, who vouch for you, who recommends you for higher jobs, higher roles, speaking opportunity, etc. and who have full faith in you despite knowing your flaws, right? As a women, we always seek, I feel that as a women, we always seek, mentoring and advisory. We feel that, okay, we will go to some person and ask for advisory, but we often feel very shy to ask for sponsorship because we feel that, okay, if I ask for this thing, it probably I am taking a favor. And we feel, little hesitant in doing this. Let me tell you that this is not a favor which you are asking for, or even if it is a favor, there's nothing to be, feel shy of this thing. Because I would suggest that, and because I really feel that there's nothing wrong in this. Your sponsors, if they have seen you enough, if they have interacted with you enough, they will be happy to recommend you for the bigger and better opportunity. Because in this industry, everyone is, trying to identify talent, and if your sponsor can recommend you at a some better opportunity, the other person would really be thankful to your sponsor. So it's just that you need to actively seek out mentors and sponsors, showcase your talent to them, take some their advisory, and whenever you feel that you need their recommendation, or you need their references, please feel free to ask for it. They would be happy to do that.
Tina, my panel is back.
All right.
I can see them in the room.
Thank you so much, everyone. I would request our speakers and the participants to share any takeaways or insights from today's session that they would like to share, please.
I think one of the key things what I realized in my session is definitely that we really underplay the role of having a mentor. In the US, it is so it's really structured that you get a sponsor, you get a mentor, you get a coach, and that's how your career progresses within the company. Whereas in India, at least the women in the workforce, we are still waiting for somebody to come and help and show us that invisible hand rather than asking for it. And that was majority of the questions which were there in my panel as to, how do you go out, ask for help? How do you find the like-minded people who can, irrespective of having any direct connection, they can help you out. And I mentioned to them that, there are many more folks out there who have been through the journey and looking to help the next generation. And all you need to do is reach out. Once you reach out, you will be surprised as to how much help is out there available that you can avail.
I can go next, Tina. I think one of the highlight question and remark on which we spent a lot of time was networking. How important networking is in times today. How do you leave an impact through various channels of networking? And we spoke about various channels of networking that exist today. Winpe has become, that channel today for a lot of aspiring women who are wanting to build careers. But it is a continuous. You can't just network once and leave it at that. It's like a sales journey. In the traditional age of how salesmen would just hound you all the time, you have to do this for yourself to be well networked and be relevant at all points in time with everyone.
Completely agree on that, Charu. Would anybody else like to add here?
I just want to say, Tina, we needed more time.
Point taken, Charu. We plan longer sessions the next time.
Tina, in our session, actually we were doing a short Q&A, and we had to come back to this room. So maybe we could do we could take one or two questions from the participants.
Sure, please.
If we have 2-3 minutes.
Yes, please. Any of the participants have any questions, please put them in the chat box.
Yeah, I think sorry for interrupting. I just thought it'd be much easier for me to ask a question rather than put it in the chat box. This is my first Winpe session, and I'm so glad I got to, have such panelists. But my one question from the session point of view was that is this session more directed towards people who have already established themselves in this career, or is it like we'll also have sessions for people who are trying to break through into this? Like, because I'm a student, so most of the things that were discussed were a bit, I mean, they were more for discussions for people who are already in this field. So I just wanted to know how the sessions are going to be structured. And is it more for people who are already working, or will it also be for people who are trying to, get an idea of how things work and how they can break into this industry?
Hiranmai, let me answer this for you. So we have
Mm.
these sessions happening on a regular basis. This session was more for women who are early on in their career in PEVC, but we do have sessions which talk about various roles in PEVC. How do you enter the PEVC roles? So the last one was around that. I would suggest that you could go to the Winpe YouTube channel. All of the
Mm.
sessions are recorded, and you would have access to the previous ones there as well.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Tina, I can take a question on the chat which has
And
come
I
up.
just wanted to add to what Tina said. See, while we might say that the speakers today are women who are in PVC, I think some of their life lessons and some of the decisions they have taken in their professional journeys, uh, those are things that can be applied to any sector. Like when you're talking about leveraging mentors, when you're talking about how you take your decisions, how do you choose your next path, those are things that are replicable. So yes, we do have specific sections and specific topics. I think once a quarter, focused on how you enter PVC. I think some of these are applicable across sectors.
Nupur,
And I'd like
actually
to ask
related to
a
your
question.
Nupur, related to your point, there's a question on the chat by Ayushi who says, "Are we open to? Is the PVC world open to hiring ex-founders?" Of course. I mean, the answer is yes. If there is a relevant skill set that exists to join, particularly a PE or a VC team, but the Ps and the VCs are always investing in companies for which we always look at people who are ready to take on any CXO role or any mid-level role, depending upon the skill set you bring in. There's nothing like you can't do if you have the relevant skill set, is my short answer to that.
Thank you, Charu.
I'd love to go and ask a question to all our mentors. Just driving from your personal journeys, if you could shed some lights on, what kind of skill sets are sought after for early fresh graduates looking for PVC careers, and any recommendations for someone like me. I'm a fresh graduate from UCL from London. So what kind of skills are you looking for in your analyst associates, in terms of both soft and hard skills?
Maybe Kathy, I'll start and maybe others can add as well, right? I think a couple of things that I usually look for when we're looking at candidates, I would say is first is intellectual curiosity. And that goes a long way, right? Like really being curious about wanting to do this job. And that you can illustrate your curiosity in a few ways, right? And some of it goes into more preparedness, right? uh, you should be aware of what is happening in the industry. Like I think like it seems like a very basic thing, but like at least like if you're trying to get into PA and VC, like read the papers, see what's happening, who is doing what. Like I think that shows to me a lot of intent, right? That someone who's really curious. Second is being prepared for the interview, and it seems more other motherhood and apple pie, but really, like, first of all, like, a lot of you will have technical interviews. And I think lack of preparedness, like understanding how to build a model, things which are very basic that people will expect, at least on the private equity side. Maybe VC is different. I think preparedness on the technical aspect extremely important, and that is easily done. That is like 1 month of work that if you're looking at interviewing in this industry, you should go ahead and do it. The second thing I would say is prepared about the interview and the person that you are speaking with. So I think it is not like a one size fits all, right? Every fund has a different philosophy, different sector exposure, different kind of people that they hire. So I think doing your homework on the fund extremely important. And I would say last thing is try to speak to people in the industry before you apply. I think, and I said that in my panel as well, like LinkedIn is your source. If you're not connected to people, finding a warm connect and trying to just have a chat before you actually sit across the table for an interview, extremely important, right? Because you can ask some of your basic questions, get to understand them better before it is time to interview. So don't wait till when a recruiter reaches out that now the process is starting. Use the time when someone is not recruiting to get to know them, have a coffee, understand the job, and then you can self-select yourself also, right? What is it that you like, which fund you like, what is the kind of work that you would do? I would say these are some of the things that we look at.
I can probably add from an early VC's perspective because the skill set that may be required are perhaps 50% similar, but at an early stage, one of the key skill that we really value in somebody's, in addition to curiosity, knowing, having a network because the deals are happening at such a lightning pace, being able to build those networks quickly, understanding where the industry is moving, not just that, because this industry is at least the early stages wherein there is flavor of the season every 3 to 4 months. Sometimes it's AI, sometimes it's blockchain, sometimes it's consumer brand, sometimes it's consumer tech, and it keeps changing and it comes in waves. So if you're able to pick the right space and be able to build the right network to say, okay, what's picking up, where others are investing, because many a times deals don't even come to you. Like the founder does not reach out to you. If it's a good founder, many people would have reached out to that founder before him coming to the market. So understanding who are those folks who are building, I would just say that adds a lot of value. And that's one, the ability to hustle, build the network fast is something we really value when we hire at an associate stage.
If I can just build on to the responses given by Ankita
Sure.
and Nishtha. Khyati, I'm assuming you're an undergrad. Let me just give you some hard reality as well. While all of it is 100% true, the fact is it's very, very hard to get into the PEVC world if you don't have an experience. There are very few PE firms that give opportunity to undergrads for a 2 year management trainee or a pre-MBA sort of candidates to come in for a period of time. And then most students or most candidates or most employees, after having done 2 years, they uh, go out and do the MBA, or their stint gets over in 2 years, depending upon the organization's policy. So it's hard, but whatever has been pointed out by saying, be aware of which are these firms that have the 2 year program, which are the industries that you like, and which are the industries, therefore, are being leveraged in a particular PVC is very, very important. Otherwise, I'll be very honest, there are only a bunch of firms in our country that exist as PVCs, and there are thousands of students wanting to be aspiring to be a part of this industry. It is a competitive space.
Right. Thank you so much, Charu. Actually, I did my master's from UCL, and I had an opportunity to work with Pooja Parmar, who's also part of our mentors group today. I was a pre-MBA analyst at Equanimity back then with 2 years of experience. I'm so glad to see her here. And now I'm actually making a transition from PE to VC. So if the panel is still open, any comments, any recommendations in making this transition from an early stage to a hardcore private equity late stage deals?
Then it's just about getting an opportunity, Kathy. I think you have the right elements really. It's really about which sector are you interested in, and figure out which PVC is doing those sort of sector investments and reach out to them. It's also about timing, because you would understand that these teams are very, very lean across the PVC firms. Most of our firms are like 10, 15, 20 people at max. Attrition is very, very low at the analyst associate level because they are rotating amongst ourselves only. So you just have to find the right timing.
Got it. Thank you so much, Charu. Thank you.
Yeah, I strongly recommend Kathy for all the PE folks listening.
Thank you so much, Pooja.
Thank you so much. I think we'll move ahead. We don't see more questions in the chat box, and I'm sure people have a lot of things and people don't want to end the conversation, but we have a paucity of time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We hope you found the session useful. Thank you to our speakers for such an insightful session on various topics. I'm launching a quick poll now. Please take a moment to vote when it appears on your screen. Please select your answer and click submit. All right. Before we wrap up, I'm excited to share that registrations for Winpe's Leadership and Summit Awards 2026 is now open. This is India's foremost forum for leaders shaping the future of private equity, venture capital, and entrepreneurship, bringing together investors, founders, and industry leaders for thought leadership, recognition, and meaningful connections. Over our last three editions, we've had more than 1,300 attendees and close to 300 firms come and learn from 160 industry stalwarts. You can find all the details and register through the link that we just shared in the chat. We have multiple discount options, especially for women who participated in Winpe events. So please don't hesitate to write to us directly at info@winpeforum.com and we'll make sure to assist you. We love to see many of you join us at WLSA 2026. It's shaping up to be an incredible event. These Winpe Ignite online sessions are available on YouTube. For those of you who've missed the previous session, you can catch them up on YouTube. We've shared the link in the chat box below. Do join the Winpe Ignite WhatsApp group to keep yourself updated on more such sessions, job openings, and masterclasses. And do join our database that we share with our member firms to support their hiring processes. We've already shared the link to join the group in the chat box. And lastly, don't forget to share your key takeaways of this session over social media with the hashtag Winpe, hashtag Winpe Ignite, and don't forget to tag Winpe. See you everyone at our next talk coming up soon. Thank you so much.